Welcome to the Latched On Podcast. The Latched On Podcast is about the outdoors in Appalachia. Everything from hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, bushcraft, and woodsmanship, and digging into the depths of what makes this area of Appalachia so unique as a whole. It's time to strap in for the Latched On Podcast. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the Latched On Podcast with Andrew and Zach. We're going to talk about kids and camping. We both have kids. Zach's kids has a couple kids that are a little bit older than mine. My oldest is 3. And I'm really going to probe Zach's brain on here a little bit on his tips and tricks on how to camp with kids, depending on how rough you want to camp or how glamping you want to glamp, so take it away.
That's what he's saying. I got 3 boys. The oldest is 9 and all the way down to 2. So we've done a few camp trips. I won't say a lot or quite a few, but we've done a few. Car camping is definitely the easiest. And for the kids, honestly, like the younger they are, I would say the more you should lean on the car camping stuff. Mm-hmm. Reason being is you can bring a lot of amenities, and that's the thing with kids. You got to bring stuff you never thought about bringing, but the big thing is just trying to keep them entertained. So just any kind of little outdoor toys, but what I try to do is do like outdoor geared toys, like so something that's geared outside, like little shovels and that little, if you, like I said, it depends if you got, I don't have girls, so I can't really speak on them as much. I know girls like some of the same stuff, so I'm not saying anything negative there. But
yeah, my daughter, we hung out with some friends up in Lynchburg one time, and ever since she hung out with her daughters, I have to make sure she has her shoes on before she goes outside, because she's like, I'm all barefoot, I'm ready to go. Which, I mean, when I was a kid, I was the same way, but nowadays, I don't know, maybe it's my wife and less me, because I'm kind of like, hey, let her do whatever. She gets hurt, she gets hurt. It's
good for them to grow,
live and learn, but she's kind of the same way. We went camping. Now, we have a camper. I've never camped in a camper before until we bought one. And my wife I've tried to get her introduced to the outdoors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I bought you a hiking pack. We'll go camping, get some hammock packs up on our house. She's like, there's no AC. There's no fan. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, we need to get a camper. I'm like, that's not camping. That's like living out in a trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, almost, you know. But, we went camping twice after we bought that camper. And it was really, like I said, it was really about her keeping her entertained. Now, luckily, the campgrounds we went at had a playground and all that.
So that's a huge thing, especially if you're going car camping. Even if you don't have an RV or a camper, going to places that have you can tent camp in most campgrounds. Even if it's an RV thing, they usually have like areas where you can set up tents and stuff. And that's the thing where you don't have to invest a lot of money. You can go to Walmart and just they're usually under $100 or less, and you can just buy one of those giant dome tents. Those are perfect for kids because they're heavy and they're bulky. It's not like something you'd pack in a backpack.
Right.
Put it in the trunk of your car, the bed of your truck. And it's big enough for your kids to stand up, run around and play. So even if it's raining, you have somewhere to go that's, they can play. It's a good time to take other stuff too, like cards. And after dark, you can teach them how to play goldfish, and stuff like that. Different things like that. It's a good time to experience and teach them, depending on their age levels and stuff, to teach them how to prep a fire to get it started. Whether you do, just different little things like that. And just be wary, obviously. I mean, as parents, y'all know to do what you need to do to be careful, but it's a good way to teach them, hey, this is how you do a teepee. Like just the little stuff like that.
Do what my dad did to me when I was a kid and teach your kid how to be a pyromaniac. No, don't do that.
But just the things like that. I really enjoy the going near water, like places with creeks and streams or small rivers. I'm
scared to death of that because my kid.
Yeah. So the what I will mention though is it was actually in the book we were talking about earlier. It was Steve Rinella's book about taking kids outdoors. I highly recommend that book. I had the audio version. And he actually reads it too. So if you like audiobooks, it's a good thing to do, or a good way to pick it up. It's, actually Steve Ranella doing the voiceover for it. And he talks about taking kids out and camping, but the number one, people always worry about snakes. They worry about bugs. They worry about, falling or from cliffs or whatever the case may be. The thing is pay attention to water. Mm-hmm. Always be careful around water, because water kills more people in general, or just kids and stuff, on outdoor adventures than almost anything else. Like you hear about snake bites and stuff, that's what makes the news, but water is a killer. So make sure you're teaching your kids to be strong swimmers. Always, we got life jackets for all my kids. Mm-hmm. I take them kayaking and stuff too. That's another fun outdoor activity. If you can go somewhere that has like a lake, near the campground, we've done that before, and just pile our kids into kayaks and take them with us, and we'll just paddle around. And it's cool if you can do that, because you don't have to go on an all-day kayaking trip. You can do it for 30 minutes, and when they're bored, you come back to camp. Yep. So that's other things you can do like that. And then once they get a little bigger and older, you can start doing the little bit rougher, like he was saying, a little more primitive, a little more difficult. And what I did to start with mine is when we did our more of like a backpack style, like you don't have a truck to rely on.
Right.
We would do it in the backyard.
Yeah, that's always I thought was a really good thing when I was younger. Is if this comes with the previous episode where we're talking about backpacking and all that stuff. Good time to test out your gear, any kind of gear, to go out in the backyard.
Yeah, and then you get to do it
with your kids,
making memories with your kids, and you get to play with your own gear.
Yeah, so you get to play with your own gear. You get to initiate your children into camping. Mm-hmm. And you're not far from home, so if you get rained out or something bad happens,
don't be too proud to take your kids inside because they get too cold, or get them another jacket.
Or kids get too bored and they just hate it.
Yeah,
you can always just go into the house for a couple minutes, get them stimulated with something else, and then say, all right, let's go to bed, or let me teach you how to do this or something like that. Because it's always kids are. They always, everybody says ADD, ADHD. Kids always have ADD because they're kids.
Yeah, kids are just kids.
Kids are kids. They want to learn new things. They want to do new things. And it's not like being an adult of where I could go out there and focus on one thing all day, even though I'm ADD as hell. But kids are, I'm not saying they are ADD, but they're just kids.
Yeah, they're just being kids. And that's another thing too, and I struggle with this when I first started taking my kids camping, is every kid now, basically most kids have a tablet of some sort, right? Whether you have a tablet or a cell phone or whatnot. My kids don't have cell phones, and people were like, well, I want to get them out of that. I don't want to take a tablet to camping for whatever reason, because that goes against it and everything. Just think about it. And people talk about they're worried about too much screen time for their kids and everything. Well, think about it. That's our world today. That's our current world. Is there's so much screen, and anything you do now, work-wise, you have to deal with computers, with tablets, with screens. That's just the new age that we're going into. So what I'm getting at with all this is, don't be afraid to charge their tablet, download a movie or two from, almost every streaming service. You can download them for offline use. Download a movie or two, so from Netflix or whatever it is that you use, and don't be afraid if it's pouring the rain. Let them watch a movie. Let them watch a video. Right. They're still outside. They're still going to learn. Now, do I take them and let them watch tablet the whole time we're camping? Absolutely not. No. Don't be afraid to do that though, because by the time our kids grow up, it's where the world is at when it comes to technology is just going to be unfathomable for us.
Imagine where technology was when we were kids. Exactly. And now imagine where it is now. I never in my wildest dreams could picture. The first time I saw a cell phone, you'd have to stick it to your car. Yeah. Yeah, it plugged in as a back phone. They were bigger than a brick. Yeah. Now, kids, my daughter's 3 years old, and she can finagle a phone better than I could when I was 3 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't be afraid to do that, and that's what I want to tell people, because when I first I struggled. I was like, I don't want them doing that. We're outside. We're out here to be outside. Well, there's time, place for everything. And then if it keeps them engaged, and then when you do that, maybe look up outdoorsy style video or movies or whatever. Download a movie with, like I said, my kids are watching cartoons and stuff, right? So most kids are. Download a movie with all the different animals. You know what I mean? Like just the different movies with the animals and stuff you might see where you're out there.
Have them watch Bambi.
Yeah. Or Fox and the Hound.
I don't know.
Stuff.
No, I still will never watch that movie.
I love that movie.
I love it too, but
Yeah.
It traumatized me as a child.
Oh yeah, it's pretty rough.
I can't never watch it again. Like my wife and me, when we first got together dating, she's like, we were going through her DVDs, and she's like, "Yeah, have you ever seen Fox and the Hound?" I'm like, I started tearing up a little bit. I'm like, I can't do it. And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "That's the only movie that made me. It was a tearjerker for me."
Oh yeah, but
it's a kids movie. But anyway, back on subject. Sorry.
But yeah, stuff like that. I like watching. And if you watch, say you watch a movie like that, the first night, say you stay 2 nights, right? First night y'all watch, whatever animal movie. The next day you can get up and go for a light hike, a short hike, and depending on what size your kids are, I'm telling you right now, keep it under a mile. Just because your kids can't do what we want to do, they'll get there. Don't push it. Don't stress it. Because if you make it miserable for them, they're not going to want to keep doing it.
There's a thing. I think Steve Ranella actually talked about it one time when he was talking about his dad, and it feels like I'm just saying what I'm saying. I don't mean nothing by it. It feels like to you, you're wanting to hike, you're wanting to do all this, and the kids don't want to do it or they can't do it. There's going to be a time and place of where they slow you down, but when they get old and you get old and you still want to do those things with them, it's going to be a time where you're going to slow them
Exactly.
down.
So just take that time and enjoy it.
Just enjoy the time with them.
They're going to stop and look at every flower. They're going to stop and want to throw rocks. They're going to stop and want to pick up this stick and carry it with them. Just just relax. And that's the thing is like I used to get real amped up and stressed out. Go out there with almost no agenda other than just letting them be kids in the outdoors. Keep them safe and teach them a couple things while you're there. That's a successful trip.
Like I tried to do that actually last night. I was at my grandma's house and she lives in the middle of the woods up a log cabin in the middle of the woods, traditional, stereotypical Appalachian type mountain cabin. And I got her to play on the porch a little bit and I was like, let's go in the woods. And I don't know what it is. Like when she was 2 years old, like I remember took her out when I was mushroom hunting. She'd be in the woods with me and everything. And she'd just do what she's doing.
Yeah.
Now she's scared to death to step off into the yard. I don't know if it's just like an age thing or whatever. I don't know if my chicken's at the house scare her to death and she just thinks there's always going chickens. I'm trying to get her past that fear.
And it just takes time. That's the thing is you just got to, if you push them over, it'll, and I've done this, when I was a young father with my oldest son, I tried to push and push and push, and it just gets to the point where it's more detrimental than it is helpful. And then now I have my youngest son, and I'm more experienced as a father in general. And just the other day, we went shed hunting, and I had him in my hunting pack, like we talked about in the last video. I was, taking my hunting pack out, or the last podcast, sorry. Had my hunting pack, and I seen actually a tip from a guy on YouTube, and I use a piece of pallet board. This is a little quick tip. If you want to, so this is like one of my favorite things now because I get a workout in. I get if you have a new pack, it's a great way to test a new pack, and your kid gets to get outside and stimulated. Is I took a pallet board and I cut it to the bottom dimensions of my pack, just smaller than that, and I rounded out the edges so it wasn't sharp with splinter wood. Put it in the bottom of my pack for my kid to have something to stand on. And then
I was wondering when you sent me that, when you posted that reel on there, I was like, did he get that pack that we were talking about of like where your kid can sit in the back of your pack?
Yeah, they make those packs like Ospry makes them. There's they're out. I mean, I love Ospry packs, don't get me wrong, but they're outrageously priced, in my opinion. Amazon makes one that I sent to Andrew. It's like just an Amazon version of it. It's like still like $175.
That's ridiculous. I mean, for what it is, I mean.
Yeah, you can only use it for a couple of years too. But that's why I use my hunting pack and put a pallet board in the bottom. I still could put a Camelback in it. I set my son in it. When we got to where we were going, you put him up on the tailgate of my truck. I set him down in it. I cinched up all the compression straps so he was tied in there real good, and took off. And he got to walk around. I handed him my crow call, and he was sitting there blaring my crow call in my ear and everything, but he thought it was the funniest cackling thing ever. And we was out there having a good time. I was looking for sheds, looking for turkey tracks, And
if he ever remembers it, when he gets older, he'll be like, that was a fun time.
And
that's all that matters.
Yeah, and then he just gets outside, he sees it, and that's why every time we come up on a stream or a creek, Dad, water. And he just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And we'd walk through the water, and he just thought it was the neatest thing ever. But the only thing I will say on that is don't go. I did like 2.5 miles that day. The longer they're in it, their legs can fall asleep because he's kind of standing on it.
Yeah.
But he's not. They're not actively walking, right. So it's not saying it's hard on their legs. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. Just keep it on shorter trips than what I did. I'd say keep it like a mile and under, or maybe 2 miles or less.
Like humans are not meant to. Like, we can stand like normal. That's not an issue. But, like, we're not like horses where we can sleep standing up.
Yeah, yeah. So
we got to give our legs a rest.
I think after a while he got a little whiny and his legs probably went to sleep on him. So I pulled him out of the pack, let him wander around a little bit and walk around. And then he was picking up sticks and throwing them. And just when you do it, just try to go out with no time restraints if you can, and just a day that you don't have really anywhere to be. Right. And try to pick good weather days. And I know that we like, trying to get out when we have to, but if it is just nasty, cold, misty rain like it is today, it's not a day to do it, just because it's going to stand out to your kids like, man, I was freezing cold. I was wet. That was miserable. I went out on a day, it hit up to like 55. So I had a good little warm jacket on him. His body's in that little pack, so that keeps him.
So he's keeping warm.
Yeah, and he had a blast. So
I know that there's one YouTube channel. It's called Outdoor Boys, and this guy he takes his boys out all the time doing whatever it is, fishing, camping, whatever. And I'm not I know we have our own YouTube channel and all that stuff, but there's nothing wrong with going and checking out his stuff because it actually could give you a lot of pointers. I'm sure if your boys, if they got in a little more into that, they would enjoy that YouTube channel a lot because it's really it's really kid friendly.
Oh, okay.
It's a really kid friendly show. He takes his kids out on his pontoon boat catfishing all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So even like his 2-year-old, he'll take them out there.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's ingraining in their head from an early age that there's nothing wrong with being outdoors.
Yep.
And staying in the four walls of your house, in my opinion, limits your experiences.
Yeah, you gotta be able to get outside. You gotta get scratched by briars. You gotta fall and just learn and pick yourself back up.
That's all I did when I was a kid. As soon as I was old enough to go out in the woods by myself, that's what I did. As soon as I got home from school.
Yep. Same here.
Went out in the woods.
Yep.
So, nothing wrong with kids going out in the woods and camping with them. Like I said, we were talking about the water thing. I don't know if it's any true to this. It may be an old wives' tale. I think my grandmother, a long time ago when I was still a kid, she said you could drown somebody off of a tablespoon of water.
That's what I always heard as a kid, too.
I always heard that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've always taken that.
It don't take much. I do know that.
It doesn't take much at all. I mean, I know at least a tablespoon of water going down the wrong tube will at least get you choked.
Oh, yeah, to choke you up. Yeah. But just you gotta play it smart. Be careful. I mean, if you take your kids out to a little stream and you want to play, but maybe there's a little more snow melt from the mountain above it than you thought, and it's a little swifter, or it rained last night for 2 hours, but it just froze the water. You just use your best judgment. I mean, that's all you got to do.
If it's something you don't feel comfortable walking in, definitely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. But even then, you got to remember your kids are clumsy. Yeah, kids are absolutely clumsy. You don't want them falling, hitting their head or whatever. But a lot of places I like to do in the summer when the water is down and little streams are just kind of trickles, I'll let them put on some Crocs with no socks, man, and just get out there and just splash and play. And it's an inch or two of water. There's no rush to it at all. Let them get out there and just
usually about the
get dirty.
Into summer where it's like August and September when it's still pretty hot.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of rain during that time frame. That actually probably is about the best time to enjoy that kind of water.
Yep. And just let them get dirty. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. What's the worst that's going to happen? You got to hose them off.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I always keep one of those like microfiber camp towels in my truck. Right. They're like you can get them for $5 at Walmart. Right. I keep one of those rolled up in the back of my seat all the time, just so if we're out somewhere and my kid wants to get, all right, do it. They're going to remember that more than, you don't want them growing up remembering, every time I try to do something, Dad was saying, no, I couldn't do it because I'll get dirty or whatever. Shoot, screw that, man. Yeah. It's just dirt.
Get them dirt.
Yep.
Get the dirt on them. So I guess what we're saying is like, don't be afraid. I mean, simply to get your kids out, and just because you like camping, like say if you're a backcountry hiker that likes to do 20 miles up down, there's nothing that says you can't, maybe dial it back.
Yeah.
Take a kid out, because getting them introduced to that in that way, sooner or later, if you stay in good shape and all that stuff, they'll be taking those 20-mile hikes.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll come. That's what my problem was. Is I was always trying to rush it and want them to do this and that. Then you're stuck carrying them out and they're crying and whining, and then you're frustrated and everything else. Just take your time, and it's well worth it. And you'll both have way more time, and then it'll get them to where they want to do it. And your kids will be coming to you asking you to go out.
Best part about having kids is, and it could change, because they may not have the same interests as you do and all that stuff, but the way I looked at it is whenever I had a boy, even when I have a daughter, my oldest is a daughter and my youngest is a boy, but like we can, that's a lifelong hunting buddy, hiking buddy, fishing buddy, and everything if they take into those interests. Now, here's another thing I'm going to kind of touch off of. We're going to wrap up this thing. I know Zach ain't doing it, and I don't do it. I don't push nothing on my kids. Like
No.
if they want to hunt with Dad, they're more than welcome to hunt.
Yep.
But I'm not going to tell them, hey, we're going hunting.
Yeah.
Like if my kid don't like to hunt, he just don't like to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not nothing. I have nothing against that. I didn't grow up hunting.
No, I didn't either. That's what it was. I always wanted to, but I never had anybody around,
Yeah.
to do it until I got older.
My only hunting role model was my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
who never hunted deer because in Dickinson County you weren't allowed to hunt deer until 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by the time I was wanting to hunt, he couldn't hunt with
Yep.
me. He was
Yeah,
already
so
in his
just let
80s.
them, if they're going to do it, like my oldest kid, he's a diehard gamer. I mean, he loves absolute game. I don't know where he got it from because I haven't played the game probably a decade.
Yeah.
I literally don't play video games, and that's just and nothing against him. That's just I don't enjoy it. That's not what I do. And that's what he's a diehard gamer, man.
Well, see, that's the opposite for me because, like, that's all I did when I wasn't outside. Especially when I got into like late middle school, early high school. That's like almost all I did was play video games, unless the weather was nice. And of course, I went outside and all that stuff. But during the winter, that's all I did was play video games and all that stuff. I still game a lot. Like I'm a weird dude. Like I'm an outdoorsy guy. I do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I love the simple life. I could literally live out in the middle of nowhere in a cabin with no power, no running water, no nothing. But I still am a big computer nerd.
Hey,
I don't understand.
It doesn't matter.
Like
whatever gets you out.
I love computers. I love toying around with electronics, but at the same time, I like the simple things. But like I said, like we're going to wrap around, loop back around to what we're talking about. Don't be afraid to take your kids out, and always just be patient with them. Let them go at their pace, and then eventually they'll be up to your. There's going to be a sweet spot of you're going to get old enough, and they're going to get old enough of where you kind of meet in the middle.
Yep.
Of where you're supposed to be at.
Yep.
And it's usually right before they start having their own kids.
Yeah.
So
Or if you can get them right before that early high school age, before they find girls or boys, whatever they're into. So,
before they start caring about girls, boys, and
if they play a lot of sports,
sports. I mean, that's another thing. I'm not going to try and push sports on my kids either. If they want to play sports, they want to play sports because the way I look at it is if they play sports, they're not going to have a lot of time to go fishing with Dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we still got that summer though.
Yeah,
even though football had 2 days and stuff like that's usually later summer. So that's what I like, that camaraderie and that teamwork thing.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Building.
It's great. I mean, I did wrestling in high school and I love that shit.
Yep.
That was awesome. I didn't play spring baseball, but I played summer league baseball, and I loved summer league.
See,
baseball.
I wish I'd have played baseball.
Yeah, I never got into football because you know how we went to the same high school, but you know how football was at J. Kelly, and I just never played it, never wanted to. I liked football, I just never felt the interest to play it at J. Kelly. I don't know.
Yeah, I was recruited for football so I could stay in shape for wrestling.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And I mean, I like to hit people too. That was fun.
And the sad part about me and Zach's situation, this is kind of going off subject, we're all into here, is Zach and me both did wrestling, but by the time he got into wrestling, I got out of wrestling because I hurt my knee and I just had to get out because I wasn't gonna fuck it up any more than I already did.
Yeah, there's no point in that.
No. But anyway, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one about just kind of glancing over the topics of, taking kids camping, taking them outdoors in general. And it could be a fun experience for you, and it's definitely going to be a fun experience for them.
Yep.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Latched On Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed making it. Our episodes come out every 2 weeks, so stay tuned for the next one, and we hope to see you all next time.